Oh my god, this is it! This is it, guys, this is it! Hi everyone, let's talk about Outlander Season 3, Episode 5, Freedom and Whiskey. Wow, this episode was pretty much all about Claire and her return to Jamie. So many emotions, but before I get into it, I first have a few quick thoughts. The encounter with Frank's mistress slash future wife was quite interesting because first of all it was a really awkward moment, but also I just kept thinking, well, to be fair, Claire at some point did say that, you know, she was willing to divorce, but he was the one who didn't really want to divorce yet. Anyway, but she also points out that she thinks the reason Frank never left was because, you know, at the end of the day he did still have feelings for Claire. So it just makes me even more sad about Frank. He should have had such a good life. But anyway, also want to talk about the skeleton that Joe was given to look at for a second opinion and that he shows to Claire, and they figure out that it was not a slave, it was a white woman who was murdered, and they're trying to figure out kind of what happened. And the whole time I'm thinking, wait a minute, why are they showing us this? It's got to be related to something we're going to see later on, either this season or in a future season, because that was just so random that they just like, oh, you know, 150 years ago, a little more. Yeah, so right about where you're gonna go back to the past to see Jamie? Yeah, okay. I have a feeling we're actually gonna meet who the actual person the skeleton belonged to is, which I think is kind of cool. But if we do see it previously on and they show that scene again, we know it's coming in that episode. So yeah, thought that was fun. I'm actually really curious. I'm like, oh, they're putting in like a murder mystery in there, a past murder mystery that we're gonna go solve. Claire wrote a resignation letter for Brianna to give to Joe, and as I had mentioned in a previous review, I wonder what his reaction will be when he realizes she's leaving. I mean, I guess he kind of figured that she was gonna go be with the Scottish guy that she's been talking about. Obviously he doesn't know that she's actually leaving to go to the past. Isn't he going to be wondering like, can I call you? I guess it would be really expensive at that time, but maybe like writing letters and stuff. I don't know. Wouldn't he want to keep in touch? I don't know why it bothers me, but I'm like, but what about Joe? And then I want to talk about the cute moment between Brianna and Roger when she just kind of puts herself back together after her mom leaves, and she has prepared a lobster roll and Boston cream pie for Roger so he can experience the real US Christmas, which I was like, I didn't even know about lobster roll. Really? Is that a thing? I've never eaten that ever, especially not at Christmas. Like, now we need to talk about the big events from this episode that led to the best ending ever, starting with Brianna and Clara back in Boston, you know, doing their thing, but obviously it's not that easy after having gone to Scotland and trying to find Jamie, and then ding ding, Roger's at the door and he's like, hey, I found him. It's actually through a poem that he found him, because what he printed won't be written until like 21 years later than when it was printed. I mean, it's just like kind of this Twilight Zone where it's like Jamie knows something he's not supposed to know and he's printing it already, except the person that's really writing this that would lead Claire to then tell it to him hasn't written it yet. Time travel issues. But anyway, they figure out the person that printed this is someone named Alexander Malcolm living in Edinburgh in 1765. And then my mind goes, print shop! Because I remember from the trailer that I was like, A. Malcolm, okay, well that's like, probably means something to book readers, and everybody was talking about the print shop scene and like it's a big deal, and I did really good. I didn't read anything about it. I had no idea what was happening, and then but my mind went like, print shop, it's happening, Jamie is there. What? I actually need, it's getting really hot here actually with the lights. Now of course Claire isn't just like, oh great, I will go now, because you know there's things that happen in her life obviously. Even though we think it's Jamie, they're not like 100% sure. I mean, they're pretty sure, but they're like, but, you know, it's kind of a gamble. And she doesn't really want to leave her daughter, which makes sense, you know. She's like, well, first of all, if I leave, I don't know if I can come back. But after, you know, talking with Brianna, she convinces her. And I love that Brianna is like, you owe it to him and to yourself to kind of go. And, you know, I want him to know me so you can kind of tell him about me. One of my favorite scenes, by the way, is the scene where she actually goes to see Joe and asks him, like, am I attractive sexually? And he's like, what's going on? This is weird. You know, and again, and it's this is why I love Outlander, because it is a legitimate question, and she would probably ask herself, like 20 years later, is he even gonna, you know, want me or want to be with me? Or it's just like, I think there's also a little bit of fear, like I can't leave Brianna, but also it's like, right, in theory it would be great to go meet Jamie again, but then when it's happening, there's a little bit of fear. What if he met someone else? What if he doesn't remember me? What if he doesn't love me? What if he doesn't find me attractive? You know, so many things, so many things. I love that she's very pragmatic this time about her trip. Like, she plans for it, because the first time around she had this really like flimsy dress and it was just not really appropriate, not really helpful. And it was really cold. I mean, this time she's like, I am making clothes. I am literally having pockets hidden inside so I can just have all this stuff and bring it with me. And then Brianna and Roger also give her some stuff to bring, and which I actually thought it was really cool that they gave her some coins, like some money, which at that time is worth nothing, but then she's like, yeah, that's actually going to be very useful for me to have. And of course she dyes her hair, which now it makes sense why when she goes back in the past, her hair looks like exactly like it was before. And she's ready to go back, and we're back in Scotland! Which is crazy because, you know, they really did that quickly. I mean, I expected us to go back to the Stones and like maybe see a little bit of that. Like, no. She's like, I'm going. Brianna, you can't come, because if you come, I might not go through. So it's like, bye, Brianna. I'm in Scotland. And it's like, oh. And she finds the print shop from the trailer, A. Malcolm. She walks up, opens the door, and then you hear Jamie's voice, who's expecting someone called Geordie, and she's like, it isn't Geordie, it's me, Claire. And he turns around and you have this moment, and it's just perfect, except that he faints. I literally laughed out loud because I was like, holy crap, this just is so not what I expected from the reunion between Jamie and Claire. And I love that Outlander always goes in a route that you wouldn't expect. Like, you have this great few seconds of moment where she obviously knows what happened to her and she's excited to see him, but he was not expecting her. So you have this moment of like, am I going crazy? Is it really her? And just like realization, oh my God. And it's like so much, it's too much for him. He literally faints from like shock. I don't know. And they end it there, which I'm just like, really, Outlander? Really? Just, I think the worst part is they're making us wait 2 weeks now to see the next episode and get the full reunion between Jamie and Claire. Definitely not how I expected it to go, but I love it so much. Again, I feel like I repeat this every episode, but I genuinely really love this season so much. I think that's when you know it's a good show, when you just are just so in it that it affects you. And it's definitely Outlander. So I, of course, would love to know what your reaction was to that reunion scene in that episode. Let me know in the comments. If you want to talk more about Outlander, you can always find me on Twitter at Sandrine. I'd love to talk about Outlander or other TV shows. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time when we get the big reunion. Can't wait.